And the whole fire itself, actually, surprisingly, didn't claim that many lives. And the bakery, or the baker's house, where the fire started, was actually the baker for the royal family at the time. So we're just going for a nice little walk this morning. This area is known as East Cheap. In the good old days, 30 years ago, this gated building here was actually a public convenience, ladies and gents. But due to a time called the Troubles, all of these underground conveniences were closed down. Make sure there's nothing coming left. So apologies for not being around for a few days. As you can tell, I'm still sniffling, still under the weather. And I spoke to my doctor about it, and he said it was just it's the leftover COVID I had back in the summer. Let's call it long COVID. So it's alright, we've got we're alright. And we're still in short sleeves weather, as you can see. That'll change in a couple of weeks. This is Lombard Street. This area was, or still is actually, associated with banking. Lombard was a bank. The earliest forms of banking, of course, we know came from the Knights Templar. They formed a banking system. I'm hoping I've sorted out the app issues.
Yes.
Now this little alley here, remember I said this is a banking district, this is called Change Alley. It's a bit to change from. Please do consider saying hi. We do welcome criticism, constructive, and suggestions, ideas, as long as they're not rude. I tell you what, for the first time today, if you like what you see, do please consider dropping a follow. Would help out the algorithm. Thank you. We haven't been in this area before, or we've just taken a different route. I just don't want to be too repetitive. This building here is the Bank of England. It's the old lady of Threadneedle Street. Now we've done this a couple of times, so that's why I thought I'd take a different route. There it is. Just a reminder, never been robbed from external forces. Internally, yes, people have stolen money, stolen bonds. No one's actually broken in, like made a tunnel. And it is a it's the place where we keep all our gold reserves, money reserves. And security is very lax. There was a famous case of somebody stealing small amounts of money. Well, I say small amounts, 1,000 here, 1,000 there, and she was stuffing them down her undergarments and walking out, because in those days very few people got searched. There's a lot of it was done on trust. And so they were taking these notes, these were used notes destined for incineration. There's an incineration plant in Dagenham in Essex where all the used out-of-date notes go to be burnt. And what they were doing, they were sneakily taking, say, small amounts, saving them up, and then returning them to the bank to be cashed. Because you can cash back old notes in this country. You've got out-of-date notes or defaced notes. You can take them to the Bank of England, and there's a cashier's office there, and they will change them for you. That's what they did. They had a few £100,000, but they were caught, obviously. And the other famous case was the bearer bonds guy, who took a lot of bearer bonds, which, well, you know, it's as good as gold. And he was operating with an organisation, and he was found dead in a hotel room in, I think, in Miami. So he must have done something to double cross his partners in crime. left here. I hope you notice I've sorted out the lean. We're not leaning anymore. This is a nice little name here. This is called the Golden Fleece. As you can see, we go across here. We'll get run over. Okay, yeah, it's called the Golden Fleece. What a lovely name. Now very soon I'm going to be starting a second channel, something along the lines of Mac on the Mall, or Man on the Mall, and just going to be doing with ceremonial at Buckingham Palace, Wellington Barracks. So I don't really want to keep this just as the walks. Just see St Paul's Cathedral, right through there. So keep an eye out for that. Either Mac on the Mall or Man on the Mall. The Mall, of course, being the road leading up to Buckingham Palace, not an area where you can buy your food from. We're approaching Cannon Street. If you, I know some people like looking at maps. I understand something called RTIL, which I might have a look at. But in all honesty, I just want to keep this simple. I'm not aiming for what I'm looking for, the term I'm looking for is affiliate. I know I keep going on about followers, but that does help. We need to cross over, but I'm not going to cross just yet. We're going to bypass St Paul's today. We've done that a couple of times last month. wait for the green man. There we are. I have seen this post box before. This police box. I'll give you another look at it. So you need to cross over here. I'm going to wait for the green man. I'll give a second good morning for anyone just coming in. My name's Mac. I do walking, not tours, I walk around London, hence the title of the stream, London Walks. And we're going to head to the river. That seems to be a fan favourite. You just see the city there. You've got the old, the furthest right building. It looks like a bit of a cheese grater effect. That's what it's known as. A cheese grater. Into that building, that cheese grater building, was built in that fashion because of the restriction on space. So they couldn't go out, so they went up. As you can probably tell, I mean that's congested, the police is there. Give another little look at St Paul's, in between old and new. Oh, excuse me, sniffing again. I have to put up with a chat, sorry. The pineapple story a couple of times about the dome on the cathedral. People for some reason don't believe me, or they're sceptical, but it's absolutely true. And you can just see that, well, they can't, because you can't. Sorry, it's absolutely true. The sharp-eyed amongst you will notice there's no more phones in front of the camera. I've got to take old man steps here. Scrape, scrape. Scrape, there we are, done it again. So I think I'll take a bit of a poo in a second. Just have a look at the river. Just see Tower Bridge, the Wibbly Wobbly Bridge, Tate Modern. Just see the Globe Theatre, just under the Wibbly Wobbly Bridge, the Millennium Bridge. Of course, the Globe Theatre. It's not the original one, of course. That did burn down. But we have done that before. I've explained try not to be repetitive. Hope you'll understand. There are some people mudlarking down here. Mudlarking is allowed on the Thames, as in looking for treasure, artifacts. And if I lean over, you can just see them there. Now, in order to go mudlarking, you have to have a license. There's two types of licenses. One is for general, so you wander around like these people are here, and you can move stones and artifacts with your hands, but you can't use any implements, no tools. And there's a second mudlarking license which allows you to dig, I think it's 0.5 metre. But you have to have the first license for a couple of years before they even entertain a second license. And there's currently about 10,000 people on the waiting list. It's easier to get in the Freemasons than to get a mudlarker's license. Not that I know anything about Freemasons, of course. Technically, you're not even allowed to sit on the foreshore. You see where the tide is coming down. You're not even allowed technically to sit there and picnic there. People still do. I mean, they're not going to. The authorities are not going to send in the police just because you're having a picnic on there. I didn't intend to walk the shoreline at very low tide, but it's really not worth the risk. And you have to, the other thing about mudlarking is you have to declare anything that you think is of not so much value but of historic value. So if you find something that might have come off an old fishing boat or an old well, anything, an artifact, and you have to take it to the museum, the London Museum, and they'll appraise it, see if it's worth keeping, because obviously it belongs to them. If not, you can have it. That's the rule book, of course. I'm sure there are many people who have taken things home. Yeah, 10,000 people waiting list. Thank you, Nick. So I didn't apply because I thought it would be a good stream, mudlarking around, seeing what we can find. But no. It's a beautiful day again today. Another reason I wasn't out over the weekend is because of somebody called Amy, or something called Amy. We had high winds, no rain as such, but certainly high winds, and yeah, it would have been difficult to walk in those winds. And many services on the Thames were stopped, taxi-wise, because of the wind and the reaction to the tide. Now when we get to the end of this walkway, you're going to have to climb some steps, so you have to listen out and ignore the grunting as I climb. Now this is the Blackfriars area. Blackfriars has two bridges going across. You got one dedicated for rail transportation and another for general traffic and walkies. The first one here being the rail. I have been asked a couple of times if I live in London. I do indeed. You can take an elevator, but in all honesty, we'd lose signal in that, probably. Funny why you say things with definition and then at the end of it you say probably. With a little signal in there, probably. I don't know, of course. There we go. Don't forget to look out for cyclists. Because whilst many cyclists are good and adhere to the Road Traffic Act, there's a small number who don't. So you can see where we come from today. Stand back a minute. So we've come from that direction today, the cheese grater. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm looking and I keep forgetting there's a delay. We're already way past where we are. It's funny how in a world of instant, I keep forgetting there's a delay. We're heading in this direction, back down the Thames. Okay. Apologies if there's any wind noise. I use the mic on the camera rather than an external mic. My shoelace is coming down, so I'm going to have to park up a minute and sort those out. See how an old man ties his laces. Drop the clanger there already. It's good to have a stout pair of walking shoes, stroke boots. When walking.
I've done that wrong as well. It's painful to watch, isn't it? Right, start again. This is because I'm not at home. At home I've got a dedicated footstool for my shoes to stand on. There we are, done. It'll probably come undone again in a minute at the moment. But alright. Okay, sorry about that. Let's just reload the video. Okay, well after a lengthy interlude, let's carry on. To give you an idea where we are, ignore the works on the embankment. You've got the London Eye there, Millennium Wheel, Oxo Tower. Those just joining, we've come this morning from the city financial district. We walked along the Thames. We've had to divert off the Thames because, as you can see, the embankment is having works done to it, so there's no footpath currently. We can rejoin it in a second. Actually, if there's anybody watching, do you want to continue on the river, or do you want to go and see some horses? Definitely silence. Okay. Oh, sugar. Yeah. Shouldn't come this way. Oh, we got a green man. Wow. That's not very often. I think what we'll do, we'll have a few minutes here and then maybe we'll go and see some horses.
building ahead of us, that's the Oxo Tower currently. That was a power station, electricity station for many years, and it powered solely the post office. Would have been known as the General Post Office. And then when that was decommissioned, it was sold to a company that makes Oxo cubes, gravy granules, hence the Oxo Tower. Today it's a building that houses modern art, all sorts of stores, coffee shops, usual. Going back, this is what I had planned for last Saturday, was a Thames clipper boat from Canary Wharf, which is in that direction, but because of the storm, they weren't out, they weren't playing. And it was probably just a good thing anyway, because the last thing you want is leaving every 5 minutes. So we will do the clipper one day. We can take it all the way from Canary Wharf and take it up to Westminster, which is in that direction. Be a nice ride. But I'm sure I will definitely need long sleeves for that one. Yeah, we're gonna cross back over in a second. We're gonna go up to Horse Guards. Unless you want something different, chap. It is a democracy after all, this chap, but I do have the final say. Of course. There's another one of those police phone boxes coming up. Now, back in the day, when there were plenty of policemen on the ground, their method of communication without radios and things was using their truncheons, and they would take out their, if they were in trouble, take out the truncheon, and they would beat them on these pavements, sidewalk, and it could be heard for a long, long way. And you would have police officers, not on every corner, but certainly within earshot of them bashing the truncheons onto the sidewalk, pavement. If there's any fans of Victorian dramas, particularly things like Jack the Ripper, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Look at the chat, we're 50 minutes in, we haven't had a problem with the stream yet. Yay! I shouldn't have said that, should I? Those are his famous last words.
And this old girl here on our left, she was used in the Second World War as a Atlantic convoy vessel. So they would safeguard the convoys that were coming from west to east, and presumably east to west.
She went with Betty and Mark.
It's a nice shot as well. You've got the London Eye, and you've got Big Ben, Palace of Westminster. It's nice. The name of this little guard dog, London.
Something from me.
This area is known as the South Bank. You've got the theatres in there. I did go there a couple of times. Hideous building, but I'm sure it won a prize for some design. I just think it's dreadful. Shame Poultry Motion, Poultry Motion wasn't here. You could tell us all about it. Sorry, Poultry. Hashed up your name there. The Rosas going up and down. Roses is a slang term for the police. And the very first police stations was at a place called Rose Street, hence Roses. Okay, so we've been going for just about an hour. So the hourly sales pitch, if you're liking the content and would like to see more and to get notified when we go live, do consider touching the follow button and never miss a stream. I've heard people say, well, you've got to press the follow button otherwise you're going to miss the stream. It's not strictly true, because if you watch the stream, it'll come back. You know, the algorithm, there's an algorithm, and it will come back to you. I've got quite a few streams I don't follow, but they're always in my recommendation section. Oh, I'm neglecting my tourist job, aren't I? This is Waterloo Bridge. Takes you down to Waterloo Station. Any romantics amongst you will know about the clock tower of Waterloo Station. Famous place to meet. And there's our Cleopatra's Needle. Oh, little beauty there. Now, I must have a heavy right foot today, because having just done up the shoelace, I'm all right. I can feel it. I'm loose again. Which is a pain. You can see how this embankment does bend around. If you remember, just a few moments ago, I was pointing in this direction to where Big Ben is. I know, just a useless observation, but